Osama bin Laden. Osama bin Laden was the founder and leader of the organization Al-Qaeda. He was placed on the International Wanted List for organizing and financing terrorist attacks against civilian and military targets. The key episode was the September 11, 2001 attacks in the United States, which killed nearly 3,000 people. He was also charged with the bombings of U.S. embassies in Kenya and Tanzania in 1998 and the attack on the destroyer USS Cole in 2000. The search was conducted by the FBI, U.S. intelligence services, an international coalition, and Interpol. The FBI added him to the list of the 10 most wanted terrorists. The U.S. Department of State announced a reward of up to $25 million for information leading to his capture. The search lasted almost 10 years. After the U.S. invasion of Afghanistan in 2001, he hid in the region between Afghanistan and Pakistan. In May 2011, American Special Forces carried out an operation in the city of Abbottabad in Pakistan. During the raid, bin Laden was killed. His body was identified through DNA analysis. After the operation, the body was buried at sea. Criminal prosecution was terminated due to the suspect's death. The case regarding his personal responsibility was closed, and the network's activities continued without his involvement. Joaquín, El Chapo Guzmán. Joaquín Archivaldo Guzmán Lora, known as El Chapo, leader of the Sinaloa cartel. He was placed on national and international wanted lists for organizing large-scale trafficking of cocaine, heroin, methamphetamine, and marijuana into the United States, money laundering, murders, and running a criminal enterprise. In 2001, he escaped from a federal prison in Mexico, after which the Mexican Attorney General's office and the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration initiated an international manhunt. In 2009, the FBI added him to its most wanted list. The U.S. government offered a reward of up to $5 million for information leading to his arrest, the Mexican government about 30 million pesos. The search lasted more than 13 years. In February 2014, Mexican Marines captured him in Mazatlan. In July 2015, he escaped again through a tunnel from Altiplano prison. After the second escape, the manhunt was resumed by Mexico, the United States, and Interpol. In January 2016, he was captured again in Los Mochis. In 2017, he was extradited to the United States. In 2019, a federal court in New York found him guilty on 10 counts, including participation in a criminal enterprise and international drug trafficking. He was sentenced to life imprisonment plus 30 years. He is held at the maximum security federal prison ADX Florence in Colorado. Pablo Escobar. Pablo Escobar was a Colombian drug lord and head of the Medellin cartel. In the 1980s, he organized large-scale production and smuggling of cocaine into the United States. According to investigators, tons of narcotics moved through his network each month. He was charged with forming a criminal organization, terrorism, murders of judges, prosecutors, police officers and politicians, bombings of civilian targets, and bribery of officials. After the assassination of the Justice Minister and the bombing of Avianca Flight 203, he was placed on national and international wanted lists. The search was conducted by the Colombian government, the National Police, the Search Block Task Force with support from the United States, including the FBI and the DEA. The Colombian government announced rewards for information leading to his capture. The sums reached millions of dollars. The manhunt lasted more than 16 months after his escape from La Catedral prison in 1992. On December 2, 1993, his location was identified through radio interception. During an attempted escape in Medellin, he was shot and killed by Colombian police. The case was officially closed on the day of his death. The cartel lost centralized leadership and later disintegrated. Al Capone. Al Capone was an American gangster and head of a Chicago crime syndicate during Prohibition. He was wanted for organizing illegal production and distribution of alcohol, racketeering, bribery of officials, maintaining a network of speakeasies, and involvement in numerous murders, including the St. Valentine's Day Massacre of 1929. The investigation was conducted by the U.S. Bureau of Investigation, later the FBI, as well as the Internal Revenue Service. Federal authorities were unable to prove the murders, so the primary charge became tax evasion. No official federal-level reward was announced for his capture. Active efforts to bring him to justice lasted several years, from 1927 to 1931. In 1931, Capone was arrested and sentenced by a federal court to 11 years in prison. He served time in Atlanta and on Alcatraz Island. Due to progressing syphilis, his health deteriorated. In 1939, he was released early because of illness. After release, he did not return to leadership of criminal structures. He died in 1947 in Florida after a stroke and cardiac arrest. The case concluded with conviction and completion of sentence. John Dillinger. John Dillinger was an American bank robber who in the 1930s was placed on the National Wanted List for a series of armed robberies, a prison escape, and the killing of a police officer. After being paroled in 1933, he led a group that robbed at least 10 banks in the states of Indiana, Ohio, Illinois, and Wisconsin. Automatic weapons were used during the raids, and civilians and law enforcement officers were killed. In January 1934, he was arrested in Arizona, but in March he escaped from the Crown Point jail by threatening guards with a pistol. After the escape, the case was transferred to the Federal Bureau of Investigation. The FBI declared him Public Enemy Number 1 and launched a large-scale operation. A reward of up to $10,000 was offered for information on Dillinger's whereabouts. The search lasted more than a year and covered several states. On July 22, 1934, FBI agents tracked him near the Biograph Theater in Chicago. During the attempt to arrest him, he tried to flee. Agents opened fire and fatally wounded him. Dillinger died at the scene. The criminal proceedings were terminated due to the suspect's death. His case became one of the first public examples of coordination between federal and local law enforcement agencies in the United States. Ted Bundy. Ted Bundy was an American serial killer responsible for numerous kidnappings, rapes, and murders of women between 1974 and 1978. He was placed on a wanted list on suspicion of abducting and killing female students in the states of Washington, Oregon, Utah, and Colorado. The investigations were conducted by local law enforcement agencies with coordination from U.S. federal authorities. After escaping from the Pitkin County Jail in Colorado in December 1977, he was sought by law enforcement across several states. No separate federal reward was officially announced. The search lasted more than 4 years from the time of the first murders. In February 1978 in Florida, he carried out an attack on a Florida State University dormitory, resulting in 2 women killed and 2 injured. On February 15, 1978, he was arrested by Pensacola police after a vehicle stop. A Florida court found him guilty of the murders of Margaret Bowman and Lisa Levy, as well as the abduction and murder of 12-year-old Kimberly Leach. He was sentenced to death. On January 24, 1989, Ted Bundy was executed in the electric chair at Florida State Prison. He confessed to 30 murders. The case was closed after the sentence was carried out. James Whitey Bulger. James Whitey Bulger was placed on federal wanted status for participation in the criminal organization Winter Hill Gang in Boston. He was charged with racketeering, drug trafficking, money laundering, and involvement in at least 19 murders. In 1995, after receiving information about a forthcoming indictment, he disappeared. The Federal Bureau of Investigation listed him among the 10 most wanted fugitives. The search lasted 16 years. The FBI offered a reward of $2 million for information leading to his capture. Bulger hid with his partner Catherine Gregg, using false documents and changing residences. In June 2011, he was arrested by FBI agents in Santa Monica, California. During the arrest, cash and weapons were seized from the apartment. In 2013, a federal court found him guilty on 11 counts of murder, racketeering, and other crimes. He was sentenced to 2 life terms plus 5 years without the possibility of parole. In October 2018, Bulger was transferred to a federal prison in West Virginia. The day after arrival, he was killed by other inmates. The case was closed after his death. Ayman al-Zawahiri. Ayman al-Zawahiri was an Egyptian physician and one of the leaders of al-Qaeda. After the death of Osama bin Laden in 2011, he headed the organization. He was placed on an international wanted list for organizing and coordinating terrorist attacks against U.S. civilian and military targets. Among the incidents were the 1998 bombings of U.S. embassies in Kenya and Tanzania, the attack on the USS Cole in 2000, and involvement in planning the September 11, 2001 attacks. The United States Federal Bureau of Investigation added him to its list of most wanted terrorists. The U.S. Department of State announced a reward of up to $25 million for information leading to his capture. The search lasted more than 20 years. During this time, al-Zawahiri hid in Pakistan and, according to intelligence, in Afghanistan. On July 31, 2022, he was killed in Kabul as a result of a drone strike conducted by the U.S. Central Intelligence Agency authorized by the U.S. President. No arrest took place. After his death, the FBI confirmed his identification. The reward was not publicly paid. His case ended with his physical elimination and the termination of the international manhunt. Saddam Hussein. Saddam Hussein was the president of Iraq from 1979 to 2003. After the invasion by coalition forces led by the United States in March 2003, he disappeared. He was placed on national and international wanted lists on charges of war crimes, crimes against humanity, and the use of chemical weapons against civilians, including during the operation against the Kurds in Halabja in 1988, as well as mass repression of Shiites after the 1991 uprising. The search was conducted by the United States Armed Forces, United States Central Command, and the Iraqi Interim Administration with support from coalition intelligence. His name was added to the list of most wanted individuals known as the deck of playing cards. The U.S. government announced a reward of up to $25 million for information on his whereabouts. The search lasted about 9 months. On December 13, 2003, Hussein was captured by U.S. forces during Operation Red Dawn near the town of Ad-Dor. He was found in an underground hideout. After his capture, he was transferred to the jurisdiction of the Iraqi Special Tribunal. The trial began in 2005. In November 2006, the tribunal found him guilty of crimes against humanity in the Do jail killings case and sentenced him to death by hanging. The sentence was carried out on December 30, 2006. The case was closed after the execution. Ramzi Yousef. Ramzi Yousef was the organizer of the 1993 World Trade Center bombing in New York. On February 26, 1993, he placed a truck bomb in the underground parking garage of the North Tower. The explosion killed 6 people and injured more than 1,000. The objective was to collapse one tower onto the other to maximize casualties. After the attack, Yousef left the United States and hid in Pakistan. He was declared wanted by the Federal Bureau of Investigation. He was placed on the list of most wanted terrorists. A reward of up to $2 million was offered for information on his whereabouts. The search lasted about 2 years. On February 7, 1995, he was arrested in Islamabad by Pakistani security forces together with FBI agents. After his arrest, he was extradited to the United States. A court in New York found him guilty of terrorism and conspiracy to use explosive devices. In 1998, Yousef was sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole plus 240 years. He is serving his sentence at the federal supermax prison ADX Florence in Colorado. The case concluded with a conviction and permanent incarceration. Dawood Ibrahim. Dawood Ibrahim is an Indian criminal figure, founder of the D Company syndicate. He was placed on the international wanted list for organizing the series of bombings in Mumbai on March 12, 1993. As a result of the attacks, 257 people were killed and more than 700 were injured. The Indian investigation established that Ibrahim coordinated financing, supply of explosives, and operational logistics. He was also charged with drug trafficking, money laundering, extortion, and links to terrorist structures. The manhunt was conducted by Indian law enforcement agencies, Interpol, and the U.S. Department of the Treasury. In 2003, the United States designated him a global terrorist. According to Indian authorities, he is hiding in Pakistan, which is officially denied by Islamabad. The Indian government announced a reward of 25 million rupees for information leading to his arrest. The search has continued for more than 30 years. Interpol repeatedly issued a red notice against him. As of now, Ibrahim has not been arrested or extradited. His assets have been subject to international sanctions and freezing. Criminal cases in India remain open. No final judicial decision has been made due to the absence of the accused. Rudolph. Eric Rudolph is an American extremist responsible for a series of bombings in the United States from 1996 to 1998. He was placed on federal wanted status for carrying out the bombing during the 1996 Olympic Games in Atlanta, where one person was killed and more than 100 were injured. He also carried out bombings at 2 abortion clinics and at a lesbian nightclub. As a result of the attacks, 2 more people were killed and more than 150 were injured. Rudolph was sought by the FBI, which added him to the 10 most wanted fugitives list. A reward of up to $1 million was offered for information leading to his capture. The search lasted nearly 5 years. He hid in the mountainous area of North Carolina, using survival skills. In May 2003, Rudolph was arrested by a police officer in the city of Murphy, North Carolina, during a night patrol. In 2005, he pleaded guilty to all charges under a plea agreement to avoid the death penalty. A federal court sentenced him to 4 consecutive life terms without the possibility of parole. He is serving his sentence at the federal supermax prison ADX Florence in Colorado.